tonight. We've got Dr. Gagandeep Kang, who's been, among other things, the co-author of Till We Win, India's Fight Against the COVID-19 Pandemic. Dr. Kang, is this what's going to help us win the fight?
So we are already in a situation where we have a lot of tools available to us that prevent disease, and we have a lot of tools for treating people once they get into hospital. What this gives us is something where if you get infected or are exposed to infection, here is something that can potentially keep you out of hospital, and it can be done with pills that can be taken orally. Unlike the very expensive monoclonal antibodies that became available in India a few months ago, we now have the potential for having two drugs that have proven effectiveness in keeping people out of hospital. So yes, this has the potential to be a game changer.
Dr. Kang, based on the data that you're seeing so far, or is there any data so far which is peer reviewed of either Merck or Pfizer, or I mean, are we still some ways away from that?
So we've heard that Pfizer is going to be presenting its data to the Food and Drug Administration, and one of the advantages is that once any data goes to the FDA, they conduct an independent analysis of the primary data. Very few regulators do that. So as soon as it gets an FDA review, essentially the data is in the public domain without it necessarily needing to be part of a publication. And we've heard that Pfizer will be submitting in a couple of weeks. So we should have the data that's required. Top line data, of course, is available from the clinical trial in their press release, where you have a little less than 800 people who participated in the study. And essentially, you had an 89% reduction in hospitalizations, 7 deaths in the people who did not receive Paxlovid, and 0 deaths in those who did.
So, Dr. Kang, how does India enjoy a huge advantage in the manufacture of generic pills?
So if we look at the countries that get covered by the medicine patents pool to whom this has been licensed, essentially what happens is that the company gives its license to the medicines patent pool, and the medicines patent pool works with manufacturers in low and middle income countries to give them licenses to manufacture at low prices. That way you can have fixed drug combinations, you can have formulations that are made specifically for LMICs. It sounds fantastic. You mentioned 50% of the world's population. But we have to remember that this is licenses for 95 countries where most of the countries don't have the ability to make drugs, unlike India. So India is one of the few countries in that list of 95 that has a strong manufacturing industry that will be able to take advantage of the patents that are with the medicine patent pool.
Professor Kang, how much is it going to cost?
China is not included. As an example, China is not included among the 95 countries.
I'm just curious, trying to understand that. Why is it not included? Because it doesn't have the drug manufacturing capability that some other countries do?
In fact, it has the drug manufacturing capability, and Medicines Sans Frontiers has come out with a statement saying that major vaccine manufacturing countries like Argentina and China have been left out of this agreement because the agreement has gone to the MPP. So it is an advantage for India.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by MPP? Just so for the benefit of
the medicines patent pool.
Right.
Medicine Patent Pool, which is the UN organization that will hold the license.
That's interesting. And how much is it going to cost in India eventually?
We don't know, but in general, everything that has been produced through MPP has been at prices that are affordable for low and middle income countries. An example is HIV drugs. that MPP does a lot of work on. Currently, the pricing for molnupiravir is about $700. It's expected that Pfizer will come up with a rich country price that will be very similar for Paxlovid. And we should anticipate that this should be orders of magnitude less. I'd be surprised if it was anything less than, somewhere between 80 to 100 times less.
So you're looking at what, about 2,000 to 4,000 rupees per course, right, of either Pfizer or Merck?
And hopefully even less than that
Eventually,
if we can get it.
And
yes,
a final question now, just again crystal gazing, because this seems to bring so much hope. All we've been talking about, Dr. Kang, over the last 1 year is how much more needs to be done. Now this is going to come online. We have manufacturing scale, a massive scale of manufacture in India. Merck is already in touch with 5 Indian companies, really good companies, Dr. Reddy's, Hetero, and a few others as well. Bharat Biotech possibly, I'm not entirely sure. 5 companies in total. We could actually be exporting this to dozens of countries around the world. So our stamp on this, will be felt around the world, given our ability to manufacture at cost.
You said it yourself, 50% of the world's population could have access because of this. And I expect that the bulk of that might come from Indian manufacture.
When are we going to get these drugs easily available at this rate, Dr. Kang?
Well, the company itself is planning to invest about $1 billion in supporting companies in India and other places to make this drug. The goal is to have up to about 180,000 courses manufactured by the end of next month, and potentially about 50 million courses manufactured in 2022. And that, of course, means you need 10 times that amount of drug, so 500 million pills need to be made, because the drug is given twice a day for 5 days.
And I believe it's 4 doses in the morning and in the evening, or 5 in one of the drugs. 5 in the morning, 5 in the evening. So either 8 or 10, depending on whether it's Paxlovid or molnupiravir.
Molnupiravir.
Yes, I got it right. I managed.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of medicines every day, right? I mean, and one has to be regular, obviously, with it. You can't miss these doses or anything like that. Again, it's a silly question, but let me ask you this, Dr. Kang. Why would one need 8 pills or 10 pills a day?
I think one of the things that we have to remember is that formulations get better with time. So when you start off with something being used in a clinical trial, you're not so worried about what the final formulation might be. You just want to know whether it works or not. Right. Now we are at the stage where we know that it works. And this is where the next step comes in. How do you reduce the size of or the number of pills that people need to take, as well as look at whether you could reduce the frequency. But right now, twice a day doesn't sound terrible.
No, it doesn't. And so are you going to therefore, some stage next year, write another chapter to Till We Win, India's fight against the COVID-19 pandemic? Are you headed in there? I don't think you have a choice, Dr. Kang. I mean, this is incredible science.
It is incredible science. And in fact, antivirals have been much harder to do than vaccines. Yeah. But I hope that this is also a game changer for us to think about how we make drugs faster for the next pandemic.
Dr. Kang, thank you very much for being with us.